I'm going to tell you why the Knicks season might come down to two players. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest, and the Knicks just came up with a really big win against the Sacramento Kings, beating them by the score of 98-91, and Jalen Brunson just had another 40-point burger game. Jalen Brunson is on a heater right now. But what I want to talk about two players that came up big in tonight's game that finally had a good game when they both played well. And we're talking about the trade boys. We're talking about Bogey and we're talking about Alec Burks. So for the game, Bogdanovic finished with 9 points, converted 4 of his 12 field goals. From 3-point, he was 1 of 5, not great. Ended the game with 5 rebounds and 1 assist. Alec Burks came up big with 12 points, shooting 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point, and in the game with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Now, tonight, Alec Burks definitely had the better game between him and Bogey. And as of late, Alec Burks has not been looking great, and I've been a little questionable as far as his minutes and him being in the rotation. But tonight is just a great example of if we get everybody back, the Julius Randles, the Mitchell Robinsons, OG Anunoby when he gets a little bit more healthy from his elbow surgery. If we get everybody back and we build a nice cohesion, a nice chemistry, we have people coming up to play big in different positions on the floor. Lately, the articles and the news going around the internet is basically saying how like Alec Burks might be out of the rotation and actually Deuce might be the one picking up those minutes. Deuce tonight didn't have a great game. Well, he ended the game with a donut, 0 points, 0 of 1 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3-point. He had 1 rebound, no assists. It just wasn't a good night for Deuce. And Deuce has been building this momentum, but Alec Burks, it kind of looked like he stepped in tonight and he kind of reminded us why we traded for him. Even though me personally, I'm not sure how I feel about him because his shot has always been a little bit inconsistent. But to stay on the positive note, to stay on the positive route, Alec Burks and Bogdanovic, they had great games. Bogdanovic, again, ending the game with 9 points. Those numbers aren't going to jump at you from the stat sheet, but he did hit key shots. I know one of the shots that he hit was a 3-pointer. I think it was like maybe with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And if we get this type of production from Alec Burks and Bogey, maybe we could ask for a little bit more from Bogey, maybe from like the 10 to 15 points. But if we get this type of production with Alec Burks from 10 to 15 points, Bogdanovic 10 to 15 points, hitting key threes, hitting key shots, and we get everybody else playing well, man, the future is bright. The rest of the season, the playoffs, everything is looking bright for the Knicks. And this was just a really physical game tonight, man. Sabonis tonight. Sabonis and the Sacramento Kings, they're super underrated. And I know this is not a King YouTube channel, but since we were going up against the Kings tonight, and I believe this is the first time that we're playing them this season, we play them again, I believe it's April 4th at the Garden. But since this is the first time that we've seen them, I haven't really kept my eyes on the Kings. I know that they've been kind of like just treading water, but from what I've seen, man, they have all the talent in the world. They're super physical. And the whole Sabonis matchup between him and Precious Achiuwa and him and Isaiah Hartenstein. Shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein for being super physical with him. I believe it was on Wednesday when Anthony Davis and the Lakers, they went up to Sacramento. And I saw that stat that Anthony Davis is 0-10 going up against Sabonis, which is absolutely crazy. But the one thing that I didn't really see Anthony Davis do in that game against Sacramento is be physical with Sabonis. So Isaiah Hartenstein going into Sacramento, knowing that he has to be physical with Sabonis and just be around him and just make sure that he's always up in his shirt. Huge salute to Isaiah Hartenstein for playing big tonight. But then it got me to think, this is why Mitchell Robinson is needed. This is why we need him towards the end of the season going into the playoffs. Now, granted, we don't really have a Sabonis in our Eastern Conference. The only person I can kind of compare him to is a Giannis. And even with that, Mitchell Robinson is not going to be matching up with Giannis most of the time. I feel like that's going to be a group effort. Sometimes it'll be Mitch. Sometimes it might even be Julius Randle. Sometimes it might be Josh Hart. But the more bigs that we have at our disposal, the more that we're going to have the opportunity to guard these type of players. Another big in the East that maybe I can think of that might be a little bit comparable to Sabonis is Bam from Miami, and Miami is once again a team that we can't sleep on. Bam and Sabonis, they're very comparable. They like to initiate the offense. Sometimes they run the point. They both can hit the mid-range. They both have a post-up game. So Mitch Robinson is going to have to be matching up with Bam Adebayo. The Giannis, like I mentioned. I'm just thinking about the leaders in the Eastern Conference. So Milwaukee came to mind, Miami came to mind, Philadelphia. They don't really have a player like that can compare to Sabonis. The only person I can think about with Boston might be Al Horford, but he's up there in age. Kristaps Porzingis isn't really like Sabonis. He's not as physical. He's very like finesse, if you will. But man, all I can say is that this was a great win for the New York Knicks. We got a W in Portland on Thursday with Brunson dropping a 40 ball. And then again, Brunson coming into Sacramento tonight, dropping 42 points, 17 of 28 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3-point, 50%. And again, I did that video earlier today where I basically learned on the spot that he was shooting 40% from 3-point for this season. And then tonight, hitting 5 of 10 from 3-point land, ending the game 50%. Chef's kiss. 3 or 4 from the free throw, ending the game with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. I'm telling you, it looks like he's going to be on a heater towards the end of the season, going into the playoffs. He's just going to be in a nice rhythm. And with Julius Randle not going to be 100%, coming back towards the end of the season, Jalen Brunson, the scoring responsibility is going to be a little bit more on his shoulders. And hopefully he's going to be able to carry this into the playoffs. And the next thing you know, he's going to be dropping 40-point games. And then we're going to have to be putting him in the same conversation with Jimmy Butler when the playoffs start. Now, it might be a little different because playoffs, the teams are a little bit more honed in. The scouting report is actually way more in-depth. So they're not going to let Jalen Brunson just go off like he's been going off these last couple games. But you never know. Jalen Brunson might show us something new this postseason that Knicks fans we weren't expecting, and we kind of didn't really realize that we had with him. But Jalen Brunson, man, just putting the team on his back and coming out with this W against the Sacramento Kings, who are kind of underrated in my eyes. Last season, they had a great year. I think they ended in the 3rd seed. They lost in the first round in Game 7 to the Golden State Warriors, where Steph Curry dropped a 50 ball. In my opinion, they actually underachieved. I think they should have beat the Golden State Warriors last season because we ended up finding out that just that chemistry between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green was ridiculous. It was so bad. So I think the Sacramento Kings actually were underwhelming last season. So coming back this year, I believe they're like in the 6th spot right now. A little bit disappointing, 6th or 7th, but it's still a great win against the Sacramento Kings, who are a better team, one of the better teams in the Western Conference. And this momentum that we're having right now, I'm really happy for. I'm really interested in, and I'm really interested to see how long we can keep this going for. But before I wrap up, man, tonight was just another great example of how Jalen Brunson is just little by little, he's just inching closer towards that conversation of being one of the better point guards in the league. I've been saying it for so long, but these performances back to back, the one in Portland, tonight in Sacramento, I feel like a lot of people are going to be coming around, and maybe come Monday morning on First Take with Stephen A, he might be leading the show talking about Jalen Brunson deserving more attention. We'll see what happens on Monday morning. But again, guys, tonight's game, one of the biggest takeaways I had was Bogey and Alec Burks. If they're able to contribute on a night-to-night basis with the way they did tonight, going into the playoffs and making a deep playoff run with Randall coming back, Mitchell Robinson coming back, OG Anunoby still getting healthy from that elbow injury, man, the future is bright with Jalen Brunson just playing the way he's been playing, being on a heater. If we can get contributions from everybody and we can rely on them, the future is super bright going into the playoffs. Super happy with this win, guys, but I want to end the video there. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Knicks' effort tonight against the Sacramento Kings. And of course, you guys know the drill. You guys know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. And until next time, guys, I'll check you out in the next video. Go Knicks, baby. Peace.